Welcome back to the Breakthrough Podcast. My name is Omar Mohammed, helping you improve and progress in business and in life. The Breakthrough Podcast is brought to you by the Minority Business Development Agency and EDAC, the Entrepreneurial Development and Assistance Center at Morgan State University. Hey, there's my co-host Leon.
Yes,
Hey man,
sir.
what's up, man?
Hey, man, I can't complain, man. It's a blessing to be back again. I'm excited about our guest today.
Absolutely, man. So let's get before we get to our guests, you can find out more information about what we do at edacmorgan.com. That's EDAC Morgan.com. We also have an event coming up on August the 20th from 10 to 2. It's going to be a hybrid event. It's going to be the Ride Impact. So we're going to talk about family reunification. We're going to talk about access to capital. We have somebody coming in talking about skill development and, of course, telling your story. So those are going to be some of the resources that we have at the event. And you'll hear some testimonies from individuals as well. Of course, the podcast, you can find the podcast on edacmorgan.com. We also have what we call Ride University, just some quick tips on how to get started in business. And don't forget about the magazine that we have as well. We partner with the Returning Citizens magazine. So I'm really excited about that opportunity. So with that said, I want to welcome our guest, Colin Frazier, to the microphone. Hey, Colin, how are you, man?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. How you fellas doing?
Hey,
Doing well, man.
doing well.
Excellent.
So let's go. We get into it, man. We always ask individuals who we bring on, how long have you been home? And when you came home, what did you think about entrepreneurship, or what was your thinking?
Man, I came home 2008. I was always an entrepreneur. I tell people, I got the story in the Bible where God had gave out the talents. And I said, when God was giving out those talents, hustling was in the bag and I snatched that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's always been in my blood, even from when I was in high school. We were in an entrepreneurship class and went down to New York to Canal Street, and the person who sponsored the whole thing gave us $50, and that was the first time I fell in love with the Fucci, with the with the blendy, all the knockoff purses or whatever. Came back to school and exchanged my books for purses and bags and knockoff shoes, and I was killing them, what I'm saying? So yeah, what I'm saying? So I always thought about entrepreneurship, and I thank God I'm just at the place where I am right now to be able to do it legally now,
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So what inspired you? You say you were always an entrepreneur. What inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
I think security, what I'm saying? I think that you have control of what you want to do in your life. I was a big control freak, and of course, when incarcerated, you lose that control, what I'm saying? And that was one of the things I always wanted to keep. And so to being able to humble yourself, to be incarcerated and give up that control, not willingly, it was a hard thing to do. And then being out to come back out and having to gauge what you need to control in your life, people, things, relationships. And I think this is an opportunity for me not only to build security, but then what came now later in life with entrepreneurship that I found out is legacy. What I'm saying? I just don't want to be that statistic or, just another young black male who went off and did this, or even a young black male who started a company or whatever. You know what I mean? I want my legacy to be there long after I'm gone.
Legacy, generational wealth, man. That's what we talk about often, and we're making it happen as well. So let's get right into it. Tell us about your business.
Oh, so the business,
I know you got
I
both.
know, right? Sure. I would say the one that I'm most proud of is I run the first ever cannabis delivery. I have the first ever cannabis delivery app on the East Coast. Not only is Black owned, but then also we're the first cannabis delivery app in both stores. So we are the longest running. When we started this, I actually built this for a client of mine. My background is in computer engineering. I went to school for, and I had built a delivery service for a client of mine, and I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Wow, why I don't do it myself? You know, called a good friend of mine, we partnered up on the business, and it was a doozy. It was a lot of red tape going through with the different laws and things you can and can't do. And what happened was, long story short, my business partner dropped out, and that's I had to put everything, on my back as far as going toward building the app number one with a team overseas, and then also getting it into the Apple Play Store and the Google Play Store, which had probably been one of the hardest things to do because we got rejected by Apple 9 times, and then they told us if you submit to us again, we're just gonna ban you uh, from
Oh,
ever even submitting anything to us ever again. So it's definitely
Wow.
coming back to the drawing board and strategically trying to get into a market where you weren't wanted. Not even as a black person, because we started to see some of the systemic things in there because they were allowing apps there, but you
mm,
could tell and you could see where they were. They're in California, they're in Sacramento there, alongside of the buddies there. So that's a whole other story. So it was getting through, but it wasn't getting through for us. Lo and behold, we got through 2021 of April is when we
Congratulations, man.
first. Thank you, thank
that's
you.
good. Yes.
Yeah.
It's when we first got it into the stores, and that wasn't even half the battle. So we got it into the stores, and now we wanted to make sure everything was A1. We had to get a cannabis bank account. That took about maybe a month and a half. I'm just submitting paperwork after paperwork after paperwork because like they didn't even believe me that this happened. And after I submitted the paperwork, of course we did the beta testing. We want to make sure that this technology actually works, that is user friendly. Me, I'm big on logic, user friendly mechanisms. So we went ahead and we did all of that. Then to come out now, we finally, with the help of Earthly Conversions, help get our ancillary license, which is a license that lets you transport cannabis legally throughout the state of Maryland. And it's like the craziest thing because I was locked up for cannabis, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Sneaking around and trying to move back and forth. You were with the cops, you sweating bullets. But at this
Mm.
point in time, we all know what it is.
Yeah.
The much times you carry drugs on you, you transport that is not even in the back of your mind. You just don't care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because you've gotten away with it so long. You don't really care if the police pull you over because you've been through this. You know the routine. You know how to wipe down your product, put the coffee on it, wrap it up tight, seal it. So all this now, now I find out there's a process to it legally, where if you abide by it, you cross your T's, you dot your I's, and you get it done. And one quick story, because I don't want people to think that because what we've been approaching people and saying download the app, and they think this is like a fly by night. Oh, I sell drugs too, so let me put it on your app type situation. There
Yeah.
was an article that just came out recently. This is a fully legit wholesale cannabis warehouse in California that was super legit. But what they were doing, they were wholesaling it to unlicensed dispensary. And the
Mm,
feds were watching them for the past 2 years. They've probably been in
Oh
business
man.
for 3 years. So imagine now they got caught by the feds.
yeah.
And they said throughout that time they made about $6 or $7 million throughout that
Whoa.
time. But then now the maximum time being bring to the table is 35 years. So
Wow.
imagine 3 years, $5 million,
7 million. Right, right.
right? 7 million, and then now cut short where almost half your life is now going to be spent in
Lord.
a penitentiary making negative money. So I really want that to set in for people where, you may think that this looks good, or you may be on the right path, and it just takes that little sliver to move you off the tracks.
Eh,
And I think that's one thing I really attest for teaming up with Earthly Conversions, because I felt like I needed a team to help maintain my integrity, with this because I've been in there.
Yeah.
And that's one thing for anybody who's a returning citizen who's listening. You need accountability. I don't care who you are, where you are, you need
Mhm.
accountability. Yeah, you a big grown person in your big age. Trust me, we all need accountability. And being able to have Earthly Conversions do things the right way and model what's supposed to be done and teaming up with them, it just gives me a sense of pride saying I don't want to let them down, let alone, the people in my community. Because yeah, $7 million may look sweet in the beginning for that little run you may have, but then now look at the next 35 years and our legacy, your name now
Mm,
is wiped.
mm,
Wow. That was
yeah.
that was that was man. I got so many different things running through my mind. I just want to just applaud you for your persistence. You know what I mean? With this vision that you have for your company. It's very inspiring. And you mentioned some things that really hit home for me was accountability, partnership, and then obviously your resilience to keep like pushing for what you wanted, as an entrepreneur. And you answered my next question already. I was going to ask you about like what motivated you and inspired you to start, this organization. And you basically gave us the answer in reference to, prior to you going in jail and being incarcerated, you was in the streets, dibbling dabbling with marijuana. So
You
it's
know,
like, those same skill sets can be converted into a legit business.
definitely.
And for you to be able to say that you have an app that no one else can say they have in the whole Mid-Atlantic region, I mean, that's awesome, man. Please tell us what the name of the app is. That's
So
also like
yeah, that I know, right? That's crazy. I didn't even want to. That's that
I was gonna
humble
get you
part.
there, man.
That was that humble part of me. You know what I'm saying? But the company is Upling, so it's
okay,
UPLING LLC, and
Bling. Okay.
Upling, and it's another forward thinking. There is Upling is a made up word. It doesn't exist in the dictionary, but we built this word out with the intent of making this cannabis delivery. That's going to be the definition of Upling by bringing so much notoriety to it that when people hear Upling, Upland will be the definition for cannabis
Yeah,
delivery.
Mm,
So
man,
yeah,
that's awesome.
you could definitely check us out www.uplink.com or even uplinkllc.com. We're all over. You could just even Google Uplink. We're there. You could come in, check us out. But Leon, man, I definitely want to, talk about the thing where not only the resilience part, but what had me go into it. One of the
Okay.
that particular question with me, even with this business, number one, I got 4 kids, I got a wife in the house. I can't fail. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then two, I wasn't even supposed to be here. This
mm,
time, that 2008, when I went in, that was it for me. Not only going in jail, but prior with me even being there, I got shot 8 times. I
Ooh,
got shot in my face. When I got shot in my face, it broke my eye socket. I got shot on the left side of my jaw, and it came out through the right side. It
yeah,
shattered
you're a
my jaw.
miracle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shattered my whole right side of my face. I got shot twice in my abdomen, my upper abdomen.
Ooh,
I got shot 1, 2, 3 times in my right arm. I shot at my radius bone, and I got
oh
shot once in
man.
the back of the head for that same dibbling dabbling in the streets. Or I was living the life.
Somebody try to take you out, man.
Oh, the morning take me out. He try to finish the job and all that, And I mean, prior to that, I was in the streets dibbling, dabbling at my finest. You know what I'm saying? Um, and they say keep your enemies close and your friends closer, and that's what happened in those situations. I got set up. A friend of mine who was with me actually got murdered. So after I got shot, I drove to Howard University Hospital. This is a Sunday, and I was
Wow.
done, laid out on a stretcher. The nurses put the mask over my face, and that was it. I was in an induced coma for about 3 days. Woke up with this big Terminator thing on my arm with my shattered right arm, and my mouth was wide shut because of the bullets that went through the right side of my face, shattered the bone so severely they couldn't do any surgery to operate on my face. And at that
Right.
time, you live in that type of lifestyle, it really hardens your heart. My background, I grew up in a Christian church, aunts or uncles, pastors or whatever, and I just got off the wrong track. Like I said, I was always
Mhm.
that entrepreneur, and they always have that story where a knife in a chef hand could be a blessing, but a knife in a robber's hand could be a terror. You know what I'm saying? Here's where I had that particular knife and I used it to abuse. You know what I'm saying? Where I think I got locked up when I was 19, when I was 20 when I was 20. So prior to that, living the life. Me, I'm a type of person. I sell my drugs. We grossing about $120,000 in a week. We moving about 8 to 600 pounds of marijuana every week. right there, Baltimore, Emerson and Payson, baby. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We was rocking.
Yeah.
And, come to a point where y- people looking at you. My whole thing was I sell my drugs and I'm in the club. I like
Mhm.
popping the champagne bottles, traveling.
Mhm.
We
A
saw the
lifestyle.
Mayweather, yeah, that Mayweather Oscar De La Hoya fight. I was on the floor. I wasn't even 21 years old yet. What I'm doing
Yeah.
in Vegas, doing all that. So it was a lifestyle. It was
Yeah.
at that
That
time I
fast
saw
money.
money could buy me anything.
Yeah.
Anything it could buy me. The power, the women, the liquor, the cars, it could buy me anything until I ended up in this situation where my friend lost his life. I almost lost my life. I spent about a week in the hospital, came back out, and got shipped off to jail where I was in DC jail there, and my charges were second degree murder, gun charge, drug charge, intent to sell, all this.
Mm.
I spent about 40 days in DC jail, got released, spent 2 years on house arrest fighting the murder charge. So I'm looking at 35 years mandatory because the law is
Yeah.
once you commit a felony and somebody dies, you're responsible for that. I had friends of mine who were just snitching on me, saying they saw me do this and
Wow.
that. When you're in this type of lifestyle, you stash money different places. I'm coming for the money to come kick to pay for a $86,000 retainer lawyer paid for. Nobody don't know where my money at. It's missing. I'm still going back and forth to the hospitals doing surgeries to fix my eye, fix my jaw, fix my arm. And all this time I really just connected and found myself closer to God, where there was a reason why he kept me alive and it couldn't be to go back into the streets. So long story short, I was accused of murder doing 35 years to then um, being released in the same federal government that was charging me, and I'll work for the federal government now. So one of my missions is
Wow.
to go back into the prisons. It took me 8 years after I got released to actually get back into the prison and do prison ministry. So we did Jessup, we did Clarksburg, and we did B Triple C. We did Baltimore. So fun fact about Baltimore jail is that Baltimore is the second oldest penitentiary in the whole United States. They
Salute.
built the jail first, and then they built the city around it. And
Yeah.
when you do the tour, it's so depressing because you could see where they used to hang the bodies there back in the day when they first were doing when they were killing off people for whatever crime that they've did.
You
And
talking about
so
B-triple-C or the
no,
pen?
the pen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I've been
pen.
in there. I
Oh
was in
yeah.
there.
It's
Yeah.
and when you're in there, it is literally like the big cobblestones that they don't even make
Yeah.
anymore, and then the
Yeah.
steel. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, it's just
So,
pigeons flying all in there and
all
everything.
it's
Like that's
crazy.
their home. Like
Right? And there's no renovation. Like there is no coming and rebuilding to fix up to do better. No, it is what it is. The year was
right.
built. That's what it is. And I can only imagine the mindset, you know what I mean? And to be able to have the opportunity to go back in there and give these brothers a sense of hope that you
Yeah.
don't have to choose this. You could
Right.
come out. So not only for me creating this business from a place where other people may have been, but then given that sigh of relief that I don't have to be in these streets. Why do you think they call it a trap? Because it
Yeah.
Mm.
traps you there. It's a trap. Who wants
Right.
to? And I don't know why people glorify it because if they saw a mouse trap, would you stick your finger in it? So if you see that this is a trap, why would you put yourself in it? Why would you glorify that? You understand what I'm saying? So be able to build something like my business, which is an escape route,
Mm.
legally. You know what I'm saying? Why not jump on this bandwagon? Why not come get money with us? You know what I'm saying? Why not reach one, teach one? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of my biggest motivations. This is not just a delivery app. We are the cannabis, we are the Uber Eats of cannabis. And this is not just another app.
All right. Alan
And
froze. Yep.
just froze on us.
Policies that might
Oh, he
keep
did.
black and brown people down. So this is not just a get rich, yeah, I'm gonna make a lot of money with doing this technology thing or whatever the case may be, but it's employing people who look like us, you know what I mean, by bringing
Mhm.
us to the table and not saying, oh, there's only a table big enough for me. That's why I'm building multiple tables for all of us to eat at
Mm.
the table.
I love that, man. Multiple.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your story, Colin.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, you don't hear those stories being told, and this show is all about creating different pathways. And I know that you're doing the tech piece, and you and I have had these conversations. It'd be, how can we begin to put together an initiative where we're working with returning citizens and really teaching them about the tech piece, as a way out, because, sometimes when you talk to the brothers and the sisters on the street, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. And they may come back to you and say, okay, what do you got that's better than what I have here? And I think that, all this technology that we have, we can begin to train them on using tech to create a different pathway. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I think this has been one of the biggest things on, I think, just teaching, not only teaching, but making it exciting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So I think that's one of the things, because I work part-time for my church as well too, and I'm like, man, I think if we could solve what makes Christianity look good and exciting, I think more people want to jump into it. So I think with the tech side, people are on Instagram, they're in their phone all day, every day, so they have some type of tech skills, right? But they don't know the power that they have in their hand to be able to monetize that, instead of posting their shoes, or posting their backside, you know what I'm saying, or doing some type of dance, that the power that that has to reach much more people, compared to when, like, our parents had to do advertising and all this. You had to used to go through a master's program and go to school. Now you just got to get the attention. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So I think it's more putting the education piece to the excitement piece to the education piece, and getting them excited about the technology that's out there. Because if I told you that there's a way, and I hate to use this as an example, and so back in the day, I used to run the streets, we used to do the skimming. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if I had a piece of technology that all I had to do is just come and tap you, and I could just swipe all your information from off your credit card. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Wouldn't you want to know how that works? You know, because wouldn't you want to know if I could build an apparatus to find out your diet, your sugar, and I could assess that and say, hey,
wow.
let's prescribe these medications for you. You
Mm,
know, what if I could build a technology, a AI technology that can help prevent strokes? 'Cause I know some of these brothers and sisters running around here, their parents or their grandparents sick at home with something, and they don't know what to do or how to do it. Imagine we're coming up with something innovative,
yeah.
that could help solve that problem.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Technology is, I mean, sometimes
That's
it
the way of
works,
the
sometimes
world.
it don't, but right now, a lot of things that we're doing, I mean, even this conversation that we're having is through,
Technology.
exactly.
Right.
How can we begin to, because they already got these devices, so how can we begin to help them out with these devices?
Yeah.
I want to jump with the time that we have remaining about telling your story. Because often when some of the returning citizens that I work with, I mean, they kind of hold it in and they don't really want people to know. I mean, that's
Mhm.
why, Leon and I, we started doing this, but we also started doing it from a visual perspective because, folk want to see, the person behind the story.
Right.
So
Mhm.
what advice can you give to those individuals who were not on the right path, but now are on a path to finding new pathways about telling their story?
I think it starts with knowing who you are. You understand what I'm saying? Knowing who you are and whose you are. You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? So I always tell this, if you're a child, a son or daughter of Obama, or one of the or a mogul, a great mogul, so like Elon Musk or somebody, you're not gonna act any kind of way. You're not gonna
Yeah,
go out here, you're not gonna be in the streets, because you know who you're representing. You know the type of respect and clout that they bring. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not gonna act a fool out here and do that.
right.
And I think the biggest part for me is knowing who I was, my identity, and and serving the Lord, and knowing that He's the maker of everything and everybody. So I can't represent
Mhm.
Him and do foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So I think it starts with knowing who you are. Get to know who you are, because no, you're not that trapper. No, you're not that drug dealer. No, you're not that one running the streets, selling God knows what to get by. That's not you. That's definitely not you. You got a greater purpose. And your purpose is not to come out here to only be a fad for 5 minutes. And then you either going away somewhere or you doing extracurricular things to be seen or be noticed. That's not you.
Yeah.
I think what we're here to show is legacy. We want your name still to remain after far when you're far gone. You know what I'm saying? So it just
Right.
shows the life that you're living now. You can't live your life any other kind of way to then be recognized later when you're gone. You want people because of your namesake that can help your kids, right? Oh, that's so and so son. Oh, that's so and so daughter. Let me give you an opportunity to come work on my company. Let me give you an opportunity to come give you a house. A lot of us never had that
Mhm.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You see what our parents and our forefathers had to work to. We never had land like that. It was taken
Mhm.
from us, still being taken from us.
Yeah.
Where you have other
Yeah.
people here, let me bless you with a house. Grandfather bank account, 50, 60 racks sitting in it. Here, grandson, whole lot. So then now I could purchase a house. I don't have debt or anything like that. Wouldn't you want the same thing for your children, for your offspring, for your legacy? Your
Yeah.
name far after when it's gone. Remember that. This is not you, the person run out in the streets for the quick money. It doesn't work like that. If you're trying to build that base, that foundation, it's about consistency and persistence.
Mm.
We don't have the ability to become millionaires like that. Oh, it's slow. It's going to be slow. As an entrepreneur right now, and I'm going to be transparent, man, I'm losing money right now. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because I value my time and my efforts. As much money I might be made with going to these different events or whatever the case may be, it's time away from my kids, time away from my family. And I put a dollar amount to that. So I'm at a loss right now. But it's that passion and that drive that keeps me going to know that this is not only just for me and my family, but it's for other families. And I think once we take notion of that to say this is not a me thing, this is a we thing, I think we could do better when we come together. I mean, with Omar Leon here building this podcast, it's not only for their benefit, it's to reach others so that they could thrive and they could do better. You know what I'm saying? We're not counting other people's pockets. But we want to make sure you have the ability to have big enough pockets to count all the money that's coming in. You understand what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
it's realizing who you are, and I really want you to sit down with that and ask yourself, who am I?
Mm.
What is my purpose? And if you don't know, you can start with serving, get into your community, team up with a nonprofit, team up with the church, and start serving the community. I promise you'll be able to serve. You find your purpose. If you don't know anything about what your purpose is, go and serve. Go into your community and help out. And there you'll see some of the pain points, you'll see some of the problems, and you'll get ideas on how to create solutions, how to create a business, and how to become a legacy.
I love it. I love it. All right,
Yeah, that
Kel.
was deep, brother.
Yep. Give out your contact information once again, so people.
Yeah, definitely. So Upling is the business. You could get to me at C I know at Colin COLIN at uplingapp.com. Upling is spelled UPLING. You could just Google me, then you'll see me come up there. Check out my IG. We're Upling LLC on all socials. You were serving a community near you. If you got your medical card or you need help getting your medical card, check out our website. We can help you get that.
Mm.
Also, just connect with me if you just want more education on what this whole cannabis realm is. We went to the Baltimore Carnival, and a lot of people didn't know that cannabis is becoming adult use in November. You know,
Yeah.
so it's no longer I got a eighth in my pocket trying to hide it or be discreet with it or whatever the case may be. Because a lot of people use this for coping mechanisms, right?
Yep.
Get educated and find out what strains could better help you with some of the anxieties you're going through, with some of the trauma that you've been through. You don't
Mm.
have to use it as a means to escape just to get high. You could actually use this to help medicate yourself so that you could go about your day and be a greater you.
Man, appreciate you, bro, for coming on, man. You know,
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You're a blessing, man. You're a blessing, man.
Thank
So
you. I appreciate you all.
we were blessed to have you on our podcast today, and thank you so much for some good words of wisdom, sharing your story. I'm sure everyone else that's going to be listening is going to be inspired, man. So keep up the great work, man, and definitely look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good deal. So thank you, Colin. Again, Uplink, UPLING. You know, that's where you can find him. Leon Robinson the fourth is right there. I'm Omar
Yes, sir.
Mohammed. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back again next month. Until then, continue to improve and progress. Peace.
This is Rich La Production.